Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter when you may be catching this particular broadcast. Out to these Pels are here, your voice manager. I unmute the voice of women who are ready to speak up about what has kept her silent for way too long, and it is Monday morning. Monday morning. Whoa. No. I'm super excited. Had to come talk to you guys. I didn't even do this one on Periscope. I'm just doing this for the World Voice League community. Because I really wanted to, share some tidbits with you guys. This last week has been kind of like a whirlwind. This last weekend, Friday was a whirlwind, literally. But this whole week has really been really interesting in finding information, and we've been on this success mindset, repositioning for success. And when you're repositioned for success, that means we got to change our mindset, we got to change our words, we got to change our actions. And so my question to you today is, on this Monday morning, is who are you living for? Now, I know some of you will be ultra correct and say that you're living for God. And yes, that is one part of it. But who are you living for really? We always hear the term thrown around, ride or die. Ride or die. Your ride or die is to signify respect and honor. Because, when it's your ride or die, it's somebody who supports you. It's somebody who gravitates towards you, and they got your back, right? And the thing about it is that I get it with having a ride or die, but who's going to live for you? Like, literally, who's going to live to their fullest for you? And who are you living your fullest for? And honestly, some of you can't answer that question. And it's okay. It's all right if you can't answer it right now, because by the end of this video, you're going to be able to answer it. And some of you may have answered the question and not really like the answer that you got. When it comes to saying that I'm going to be a ride or die, or I change that and flip that and say, who am I living for? When I say who am I living for, then some people call it their why, but I need it to be a little deeper than that. When you think about who it is you're living for, you think about the fact that means it's going to affect and infect how I think. It's going to affect and infect my actions. So the actions that you do today, are they worthy of you living for the people you said you wanted to live for? So are the actions that you're doing today, are they respectful, and are they honoring your children? Are the actions that you did this morning so far, are they respectful and honoring your husband or your wife? And some people, the answer to that is no. I get it. We're in a time where we kind of, fall into all of these different habits, and we fall into trying to really fit into the status quo, fit into what everybody else is doing, trying to look like everybody else, sound like everybody else. But I want to say this to you, that this Monday, I want you, instead of you trying to be a ride or die, I want you to flip it and say, who am I going to live for? And what does that look like? Who am I going to live for, and what does that look like? Because see, if I decide who am I going to live for, then in the morning, I'm going to get up with that thought in my mind, and I'm going to get up with a tenacity. I'm going to get up with intention when I'm deciding that I'm going to live for this. I'm living for that. I'm living for, and it's not living for stuff. But when we decide that there's a person that we're willing to live for, that goes a whole lot further, because that person most times are going to be someone who lives past us. See, y'all better catch this real quick. When I decide that I'm going to live for somebody, most times that means that that person is going to live beyond me. That's the legacy that I'm leaving. See, when I say I'm a ride or die, then I'm not really leaving a legacy, except for what I did in that moment. But when I decide that I'm going to live for somebody, then I'm going to go and I'm going to make decisions that are going to be epic, that are going to build a legacy, that are going to shine bright for years to come, because I chose to live. It's February of 2020. Have you chosen to live? Like, honestly, have you chosen to live? I mean, every day. Not just live, meaning you have breath in your body, but have you chosen to live? Meaning, have you chosen to experience the things that you said you wanted to experience? Have you chosen to actually have the conversations you wanted to? Have you chosen where you wanted to actually show up? Have you chosen those things, or are you still allowing them to be chosen for you? When you make a decision that you're going to live for someone, that you're going to live, even if it's for yourself, then you won't allow people to tell you and dictate where it is you go. You won't allow people to dictate what it is that you do. You won't allow people to dictate who it is that you speak to. You won't allow people to put a cap on what it is that you can do within your life. Because when you determine that you're going to live and not die, that you're going to live for self, you're going to live for your children, you're going to live for your spouse. Have you ever heard about the stories of people surviving in a catastrophe for days? And what did they say? I was thinking about my spouse. I was thinking about my children. I was thinking about my parents. I was decided that I wanted to live. I had such a power in my mind that in the moment, no matter what the pain was, I decided to live. I ask you this question this morning, or whenever you may be watching this video, because you may watch this in 2021, you may watch it in 2025. Decide that you will live for someone. Decide that you will live for someone, even if that someone is you. Because now when you get up in the morning, I'm not just getting up and getting out of bed for myself. I'm getting out of my bed because of that person I said I was going to live for. I'm getting out of my bed for my great-grandchildren that will one day understand that their great-grandmother did some amazing things in helping women to find their voice. I'm getting up and I'm doing something amazing. See, this is the thing. God said that we would do greater things. When we think about Jesus, I want y'all to catch this. When we think about Jesus, Jesus lived and died for us. See, I know this goes against what most people are talking about, because everybody talks about how Jesus died on the cross. But understand, before he died, Jesus lived. Before he died, he lived. He lived such a life that we can emulate him. That is what we are supposed to be doing. He lived such a life that he changed lives. He healed people. He sowed into people. He encouraged people. He motivated them. He lived. And then he died. See, we miss that part when we just only talk about how Jesus died for us. I hope y'all catching this. We miss that part when we talk about how only Jesus died for us. He did more than just die for us. He lived. Are you willing to live? Are you willing to make the choices and decisions that may not be popular in order for you to live for someone else? Are you willing to make choices and decisions that may take you outside of your comfort zone in order for you to live for someone else? Decide you're going to live. Because when you die, you will leave a legacy. Understand that. If you get nothing else, choose today who you will live for. How far it is that you decide that you want to go and achieve great things. Who will you live for? Because now, when it's come time for you to make that hard decision, it won't be as hard. See, they ask questions about how Jesus was able to make the hard decisions and how he was able to tell the stories and share parables. And he did all of those things because he had it in our mind and he was thinking of us. And he said, I must live in such a way that it is going to impact their lives. I must live in such a way that it is going to open doors for them. I must live in such a way that it is going to guide them. How is your life guiding the next person? It's starting to rain right now and I ain't even moving. How is your life how is it guiding the next person? Are you setting a clear path for the people that are standing behind you? Because the reality is that there are people standing behind you. There are children standing behind you. There are parents and grandparents standing behind you. There are generations who are waiting behind you to see what step you take next. Because when they see what step you take next, it will show them which one that they can take. And Some of you may be saying, well, I've done too many things wrong in my life for me to be able to do that. I've done too many things. I've messed up too much for me to be able to be a guide for somebody else. I don't live 100% right. Nobody is 100%. There's only one person that was perfect, and he was Jesus. Can I tell y'all something? God never asked you to be perfect. He asked you to live. He never asked you to be perfect. He asked you to live. He asked you to live in such an obedience that you would literally be the guide, the light. He called us to be the salt of the earth. He called us to be the light in the world. He called us to be game changers. And oh my goodness, he called us to disrupt what's going on in the world. He called us to do those things. And he called us to do those things not because he thought we were perfect. He called us to do those things because he knew that we were capable. He called us to do those things because he knew that we would be able to do it and influence so many others. So I don't know who's going to watch this video. I don't know how many people may see it. I definitely wanted to share it with the community, but I need you to make the decision that you will live. You will live. That's your confession this week. I will live. I will live the life that will leave a legacy. I will live a life. See, we talk about legacy and people will always go towards money. No, I want my life to be a legacy. I want them to look at the lives that I touched and see that I was doing something great. Not because of the recognition, but because of the freedom that it would give to the next person. Not because of the recognition, but because of the freedom it would give to the next person. Something that I've done over the last couple years is every year I go through this period of purging, and I go and I purge my social media and emails and all this other stuff, and I go through it for a reason, because I'm not looking for the numbers. I went from having over 2,000 people on my email list to going back down to about 700. Why? Because it's not about the numbers, it's about the impact. Am I making an impact in the lives of the people I'm connecting with? And if I'm not making an impact, then why am I connected to them? I'm not meant to help everybody, but the ones that I want to help, I want to be connected to those. I thank people so much for sharing out broadcasts and sharing out my videos, because guess what? It allows me to connect with the people that need me the most. You may not be the one that needs me the most. I get that. But you may know somebody that needs me. You may know somebody that needs to get out their own way. You may know somebody that needs to find their voice. And you go, listen, I got somebody I need you to listen to. That's what living is all about. I thank everybody for their prayers for last week. Man, it was bananas. It was crazy. And I look and I say, wow, there are people that go through that on what I went through on Friday. They go through it on a regular basis, right? But you got to choose each day that you're going to live it to the fullest. No more mediocre. No more mediocre. No more thinking that I'm just going to lie by the wayside. No more thinking that I can just do the bare minimum. No more being average. It's crowded in average. It's crowded in average. So, I need you to make a decision. Decide that today will be the day that you live. Decide that today will be the day that you live, not just for yourself, but for the people that are coming after you. They need you. You need you. And nobody can show up the way that you can show up. So I appreciate you guys. I am Altivise Pelzer, your voice manager. And this is all about having your voice heard. But not just having it heard for you, but having it heard so that your grandchildren don't live the life you lived. They can live an even better one. With that being said, I appreciate you guys. And until next time, don't forget to press it out. Check us out. We're a voice league.